Hello and welcome. As you can tell by the title, I'm the obsessed movie man, O.M.M. When it comes to comic book movies, I tend to focus more on Marvel or DC. I have nothing against other comic book companies, it's just that I grew up on characters such as Batman, Spider-Man, the Teen Titans, X-Men, so forth. There are many other superheroes I could have followed, one of them being Judge Dredd. Judge Dredd was published by IPC Media and first appeared on March 5th, 1977. I thought of it as being a gritty anti-hero kind of series, a hero who isn't afraid to get his hands dirty and kills in the name of the law. Oh, right, and he had one flub of a movie starring Sylvester Stallone as the title character. Needless to say, it didn't go well. And by that I mean it was an utter disaster. It seemed like this would be the end of any potential Judge Dredd movies. However, in 2012, a reboot was made simply titled Dredd. The filmmakers wanted to go back to the basics and present Dredd as the grim and mysterious enforcer that he was in the comics. In this film, Karl Urban plays him, and he has his face concealed behind the helmet throughout the entire movie. Dredd is assigned to take rookie Cassandra Anderson out on a field test to determine if she is qualified to be a judge. They investigate 3 homicides in one of the city towers and learn that a gang leader known as Mama killed them. Mama is in complete control of the city and has also introduced a new drug onto the streets called slow-mo, which changes the user's perception of time. Realizing she has been caught, Mama has the city tower on lockdown and orders that the judges to be killed. So the film is now about Dredd and Anderson's survival in the city and their intent to capture Mama. One of the things that makes this comic book movie differ from others is that the plot isn't about the hero's moral reflection or them fighting their greatest villain. No, this film is just another day in the life of Judge Dredd. It starts off with him getting ready for patrol and it ends the very next day. Most likely that's what the filmmakers had in mind when making this movie. They wanted to show all the crime and chaos that is present in just one day alone, and how it no longer phases the street judges. To them, it's just a regular occurrence. A lot of the plot revolves around the slow-mo drug, and the visuals that are achieved to show the effects of the drug are absolutely beautiful. The shots are in fantastic slow motion as you view the world through the eyes of the drug users. Just to clarify, this review does not endorse drug use. Now where'd I put my heroin? The violence in this film is brutal. People are rippled with bullets, hit by cars, skinned alive, and other gruesome things accompany the film as well, so be warned before watching this movie. On to our principal cast. Karl Urban does an extremely great job as Judge Dredd. It's kind of hard for me to believe it's actually him. I mean, he totally lost himself in the role. Seriously, the man is so dedicated to the character that he is willing to keep Dredd's helmet on throughout the entire film. That's right, you never see his face, which was a trademark of the Judge Dredd character in the comics. He's unmerciful and willing to do anything to serve the law, but he's also willing to take someone under his wing and train him or her to be the best judge that they can be. Here's where we bring in Anderson, played by Olivia Thirlby. She's a psychic who is trained to be a judge, and we identify with her since we view the judge's world through her point of view. Her character starts off as being a bit quiet, a bit more considerate, but as the film progresses, we see that she's not afraid to get her hands dirty. While she does want to become a judge, there are moments when her kindness and sense of morality cause her to do things that judges wouldn't do. In one scene, she hesitates to kill a man who is unarmed. He has these pleading eyes, but Dredd orders Anderson to kill him. In another scene, the computer programmer that is working for Mama is found. He begs for his life, and after viewing his mind and discovering he is also a victim of Mama, Anderson lets him go, which is something Dredd looks highly down on. After close examination of the relationship between Dredd and Anderson, I think that one of the themes of the film is finding one's sense of morality. Dredd is willing to do everything and anything for the law. Why? Just because it is the law. He's like a drone, or hell, he's like RoboCop. Anderson wishes to serve the law as well, but she doesn't believe that the judges cannot show humanity. She knows that there are innocent people who are forced into crime and are not truly bad. Anderson represents hope in a rotting system, whereas Dredd sees the world only in black and white. It's not something that hasn't been done before, but it's a nice reinterpretation of this story which I have not seen in a while. The last character I'll talk about is Mama, played by Lena Headey. Jeez Louise, is this woman scary. It's actually a nice twist to have a female antagonist in this film, and to make her so violent was a move that works so well for both Headey and the film. I don't know what scares me the most about her. Maybe it's her sneering mouth, or maybe it's all in her eyes. I think it is the eyes. She glares at everything and everyone around her, and it makes her look like some sort of predator. It's like she's the queen bee and the city is her hive, all full of bees ready to do her duty. Maybe a bit more depth could have gone into her backstory, but otherwise she's a really good and really scary character. After listening to my review so far, you're probably thinking, well, gee, O.M.M, you have completely sold me on this awesome movie, you sly devil you. When do you think a sequel will be made? My answer, sadly, is that the movie will most likely not get a sequel. While gaining positive reception, Dredd was a box office bomb, bringing in only $13 million at the domestic box office. Even though word of mouth about how good the film was spread and that the movie sold well when it was released on DVD, the executive producer of the film has said that a sequel was highly unlikely. There have been petitions by fans to get the sequel made, and Karl Urban has stated that he would love to return to the role. Was the reason it failed because it was an R-rated comic book movie? It's very possible. Few comic book movies these days get an R rating because studios are expecting these films to make their money back, and a lot of the target audience consists of kids and teenagers, an audience that can't get into R-rated films. That hasn't stopped other filmmakers to make R-rated comic book films, some of which do succeed. Watchmen brought in $185.3 million of its $130 million budget, and it's the 10th largest opening for an R-rated film in North American history. The idea of Dredd's failure at the box office could also be partly due to the popularity of the character in the mainstream. Judge Dredd certainly does have his fans, but he is not as widely known as Batman, Spider-Man, or Wolverine. So I believe that it was a mixture of both the rating and the general public's unfamiliarity with the character. That all being said, has the obsessed movie man reached a verdict on this film? He has. I find this film to be guilty of being a great action film, and I also charge it with having a surprisingly good message about how two different people who see the world differently can come together to improve the world. If you want a very gritty comic book movie that isn't afraid to get dirty, check out Dredd. Remember, he is the law. Thanks, this is an O.M.M review. This is O.M.M signing out. Court's adjourned.